I found friends. I found sports.
I found my passion.
I found family.
I found my calling. I found a place to call home. Discover what you can find at Marietta by visiting marietta.edu today.
Coming up today on NewsCenter 15, the country mourns an attack on a Pittsburgh synagogue.
And NASA launches a new record-breaking probe.
We've got these stories and more right here on WCMO 15. Good afternoon and welcome to Thursday's edition of NewsCenter 15. I'm Riley Wall.
And I'm Raimundo Pastor.
Topping our news this afternoon, hundreds of people have gathered in the nation's capital to remember the 11 congregants killed at a Pittsburgh synagogue. A vigil was held Sunday evening in Washington's DuPont Circle to pay tribute to those killed a day earlier at the Tree of Life Synagogue. Mourners sang and prayed together. Others held lit candles and held signs, including one that read, "Tree of Life victims deserve better." Some in the crowd wept as the names of the 11 victims were read aloud. Police say the suspected gunman, Robert Bowers, told police that he wanted to, quote, "kill Jews," unquote. 8 men and 3 women were killed when Bowers opened fire. The FBI said he was armed with an AR-15 rifle and 3 handguns. Bowers faces federal and state charges. He appeared in court on Monday.
Former President Jimmy Carter is wading into the continuous Georgia government race with personal appeal to Republican candidate Brian Kemp. Resign as Secretary of State to avoid damaging public confidence in the outcome his hotly contested matchup with Democrat Stacey Abrams. The 94-year-old Carter's request is the latest turn in a campaign whose closing month is being defined by charges of attempted voter suppression and countercharges of attempted voter fraud. Kemp has thus far dismissed Democratic demands that he step aside as Georgia's chief elections officer, but Carter's attempted to approach the matter less as a partisan who has endorsed Abrams and more as the former president who spent the decades since he left the Oval Office monitoring elections around the world.
As the Halloween season continues, how will today feel?
Here with the first look at the weather is Landon Santini.
Well, as of right now, it feels pretty cool outside. Not like freezing cold, but cool enough that you can get a little, if you're sweating profusely from doing something, it'll definitely get rid of that. But we'll talk a little bit about that and the rest of the week later on. Right now, we're going to be experiencing, and quite a lot of this today throughout the country, partly cloudy conditions with a high of 46. The humidity outside is about 82%. That's a big reason why we have a lot of clouds. The barometric pressure is 30.2 inches of mercury. The winds today are going to be running around the south-southeast, about 3 miles per hour. The dew point is 45 degrees Fahrenheit, and the UV rating is rather moderate. Not too much, not too little. So when we come back later on in the broadcast for the 5-day forecast, we'll also give you a few tips here and there about what to keep in mind for trick-or-treating this Halloween season. So until then, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Landon. Jair Bolsonaro, a brash far-right congressman who has waxed nostalgic for Brazil's old military dictatorship, won the presidency of Latin America's largest nation Sunday as voters looked past warnings that he would erode democracy and embrace a chance for radical change after years of turmoil. The former Army captain, who cast himself as a political outsider despite a 27-year career in Congress, became the latest world leader to rise to power by mixing tough, often violent talk with hard right positions. His victory reflected widespread anger at the political class after years of corruption, an economy that has struggled to recover after a punishing recession and a surge in violence.
NASA's Parker solar probe is now closer to the sun than any spacecraft has ever gotten. Parker on Monday surpassed the record of 26 million miles, 43 million kilometers set by Helios 2 back in 1976, and it will keep getting closer to the sun until it flies through the corona or outer atmosphere for the first time next week. Passing within 15 million miles of the solar surface, Parker will make 24 close approaches to the sun over the next 7 years, ultimately coming within just 3.8 million miles.
Coming up next, when will your kids be able to hunt for candy tonight?
Plus, we'll look back at the stormy weekend.
We'll be back after this.
I never chew tobacco.
I don't drink much.
Never smoked a cigarette in my life.
HPV. Isn't that about cervical cancer?
What does that have to do with oral cancer?
HPV? Didn't know that.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
I think it goes around.
Let's go. We gotta get you in practice.
And it's set!
This year's annual Halloween festivities were held in the Junior Fair building at the Washington County Fairgrounds because of the rainy weather on Saturday. Typically, a Halloween parade takes place downtown Marietta, and the Halloween in the Park party follows in Muskingum Park. The Halloween parade and Halloween at the Park is a free community event that involves many local civic groups. In its 31st year, kids had fun participating in a number of costume contests, including the funniest, scariest, and most original awards. Many volunteers helped organize the event to ensure the kids had a great time.
Other Halloween festivities are planned for this evening. Belpre, Elizabeth, Parkersburg, Vienna, and Williamstown all have their own events taking place between 6 p.m. and 7:30. Remember to stay safe as you go trick-or-treating with your kids, especially as it gets dark. More information on your local Halloween events can be found online, so be sure to check before heading out.
A strong storm blew through the area Sunday evening, causing downed tree limbs and some accidents in the area. A bout of heavy rain hit the area around 7 p.m. Sunday. Gusty winds were experienced Sunday, which could be enhanced by showers and thunderstorms, according to a hazardous weather advisory from the National Weather Service in Charleston. There were also some reported incidents of vehicle collisions and other accidents, but thankfully there have been no critical injuries.
Despite rainy conditions, organizers were pleased to hold the event, raising awareness about domestic violence and its effects on family pets, and plan to make it an annual event in Parkersburg. The Family Crisis Intervention Center organized Saturday morning's walk as part of the Domestic Violence Awareness Month in October. About 30 people and about 10 dogs participated in the event. Signs were displayed along the trail around the park, providing statistics and information pertaining to domestic violence and animal abuse. People and pets could walk 2 laps around City Park. Each dog received a bandana in recognition of the event.
Coming up next, we'll take a look at what's happening around the region.
We'll be back after this.
And although it's going to be cool tonight in time for Halloween, we're going to be experiencing a bit of a warm resurgence this week. More on that when I come back for the 5-day forecast after the break.
November is No Shaver Month at City of Hope. That means, throughout November, to raise awareness about prostate cancer, City of Hope is urging men to stop shaving and get screened. But here's my problem. When I grow out my beard, I end up like this. I mean, have you ever? And you know how long this took me? What do I have? A couple of little hairs here? I mean, man, it's useless. How about this? How about this? Very Lincoln-esque, don't you think? How about this? Oh, you put them. Well, that's not the way I heard it. For all you men watching, do what I can't. Let your beards grow. And while you're at it, get screened. No shaver with City of Hope. Grow it, show it, know it.
A U.S. Marine from West Virginia, whose remains were identified more than a half-century after he was killed during a World War II battle on a Pacific island, has been buried with full military honors. Marine Corps Reserve PFC Joe Lukey was buried Saturday in Oak Hill. The 19-year-old resident of Harvey was killed in November 1943 on the small island of Betio while serving with the 2nd Marine Division. The Defense POW-MIA accounting agency says service members who died in the battle were buried in battlefield cemeteries on the island. By 1949, the remains of Lukey and others who had not been identified were interred in Honolulu. Lukey's remains were identified in 2017.
Police in Ohio are still searching for the man who stole a cement mixer from a property in Dublin. Security footage of the September 26 event shows the unidentified man dragging the mixer off the lot until he disappeared from view. WBNS-TV reports the suspect was last seen wearing dark clothing and a ball cap. Crime Stoppers is offering a cash reward for any information, leading to the arrest of an indictment of the person responsible for this crime.
A national research effort aimed at protecting freshwater lakes from toxic algal blooms will be led by a new center in Ohio. Bowling Green State University announced in a release Monday that it's been awarded a $5.2 million grant from the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences and National Science Foundation to establish the Lake Erie Center for Freshwaters and Human Health. The collaborative effort among Bowling Green State and other universities and research institutions will research causes of algal blooms and possible solutions. Now let's take a look at what's happening in the world of entertainment.
For the latest movie and music news, here's George Riffle with the Hollywood Minute.
Crazy Rich Asians hasn't opened in China yet, but producers are planning to shoot the sequel there. The second book in the series, China Rich Girlfriend, is set mostly in the Middle Kingdom, and the head of SK Global, one of the companies behind the first film, says he's looking to shoot in Shanghai. Crazy Rich Asians was filmed in Singapore and Malaysia. Weird Al Yankovic is hitting the road again. November 12th, the master of musical parody is set to announce dates for his 2019 tour. Al had his band Will joined by a full symphony orchestra that he's called the On the Strings Tour. United States so of course he's calling it the Strings Attached Tour. Tickets go on sale November 16th. November 16th. Not this time. Not this time. Amber Heard stars in London Fields as Femme Fatale, who knows one of the men she's seeing, Theo James, Jim Sturgis, or Billy Bob Thornton, is going to kill her. Instead, it was the movie that was dead on arrival. It opened in 613 theaters and made just $16,000 in about $119 per theater. One of the worst debuts in recent history in Hollywood. I'm George Riffle.
Thank you, George. Let's head back to Landon Santini for a look at the weather.
What do you have for us, Landon?
Well, I've got some good news in terms of the weather. Thankfully, it looks like we're not going to have to be dealing with rain for any of the trick-or-treat dates we've got this week, especially considering that the actual day of Halloween is tomorrow. So right now, we'll take a look at the weather around our beautiful country, the United States of America. In our little neck of the woods around here in Ohio, right now, as far as the low temperatures towards the end of the day are concerned, we're on the higher end of it. We're experiencing temperatures of lows in the 60s right now, and likewise, the high temperatures we're experiencing are about in the 70s. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're taking a bit of an weird turn from the fall temperatures this week, in that in the middle of this week, we're going to be experiencing a bit of a warm resurgence. But as we take a look at the radar, as of today, we're going to be dealing with not rain, but it's going to be a good spooky feel for tonight because we're going to have an abundance of cloud coverage. As you can see, the majority of it is coming from the middle of the country, and a good chunk of it's coming towards Ohio. But our area around here, the southeast, it's not going to have a lot, but just enough to give it a little tint. It's not quite a fog, but not blinding in any way. So as we take a look at the 5-day forecast, you can see that today we're going to be experiencing sunny conditions with a high of 64 and a low of 50. And then on the actual Halloween day tomorrow is when we're going to be experiencing that that resurgence of warm temperatures. And the reason for that is because we're going to be having a lot of showers throughout the rest of the week, unfortunately. So Wednesday, we're going to be experiencing a high of 71 and a low of 56. And then the temperatures will start getting back down to normal as we climb into the weekend and the showers dissipate, with cloudy conditions and a high of 53 and 39 on Saturday all day. So as for tonight and tomorrow for Halloween, remember, when you go out trick-or-treating, the most important things to remember are stay with a grown-up, have flashlights with you so you can see where you're going, only stay in the areas where there are houses giving out candy, but most important, and I can't stress this enough, have some fun. And that's exactly what we're going to do later on in the program. So for now, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Landon. When we come back, Matt Yates will have the latest from the world of sports.
Stay with us.
Cancer may be tough, but we are tougher. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Our game-changing research has led to the belief that the cures for cancer are in our blood. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Beating cancer is in our blood.
Marietta College is a private contemporary liberal arts college that is home to students from more than 40 states and 20 countries. Marietta offers 44 undergraduate programs, ensuring that each student will find their calling. Pioneers are a sanctioned Division III sports facilitator, offering 18 varsity sports teams with nearly 400 student athletes on campus, as well as 65 other clubs and organizations. To find out how you can become part of the Long Blue Line, visit www.marietta.edu. Marietta College, where you belong. On the screen.
Cool.
And now we're back with Matt Yates for a look at sports.
What's the lates, Yates?
Well, of course, we've got Jimmy Marshall's 42-yard field goal as time expired, giving Baldwin Wallace a 30-28 win to stun Marietta College Saturday at Don Drum Stadium. The Pioneers, who are now 6-2 overall, led 21-7 at halftime and were clinging to a 28-27 lead most of the fourth quarter. However, they couldn't get the extra push to put the game away for good. The Yellow Jackets got the ball at their own 20 with a minute 18 left on the clock and no timeouts. Quarterback Jake Hudson engineered a 55-yard drive to Marietta's 25 to set up a game-winning field goal try, and Marshall put it through to hand the Pioneers their second straight loss. The Pioneers finished 4-1 at home. They play at Otterbein next week. However, the city of Boston is ready to celebrate yet another World Series championship after the Red Sox defeated the Dodgers in a 4-1 series win on Sunday. David Price went the distance again, pitching into the 8th inning on short rest and limiting the Dodgers to 1 run. Mid-season acquisition Stephen Pierce was named the series MVP, blasting 3 homers during the season. The Dodgers, meanwhile, have lost their second straight World Series. A number of uncertainties now surround the team, such as the fate of the staff ace, Clayton Kershaw, and manager Dave Roberts. Hugh Jackson has been fired as the coach of the Cleveland Browns, ending a run of futility nearly unmatched in NFL history. Jackson, who went 3-36-1 in 2+ seasons, was dismissed by general manager John Dorsey with the backing of owners Dee and Jimmy Haslam. The Browns also dismissed offensive coordinator Todd Haley and named defensive coordinator Greg Williams interim coach. Urban Meyer, in college football news, says he will be back coaching at Ohio State next season. Meyer, who was suspended for 3 games to start the season and has been blown by headaches caused by a cyst, was addressing speculation around the college football world that he could retire after the season. He told reporters that he definitely will be back next season. That's all for the world of sports. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Matt. Now joining us at the desk is Landon for one last look at the weather.
To sum up our last newscast for the month of October, quite an achievement. Congratulations, everyone. We're going to be experiencing rather cloudy conditions throughout the day, so that's a good mood setter for Halloween. But in the middle of the week, we're going to see a resurgence of warmer temperatures with a high of 71 tomorrow. And unfortunately, with that comes rain for the rest of the week. But as we get into the weekend, the temperatures will get back down to the 50s, what they are now this time of year, as well as the rain. So we're going to hopefully have a dry weekend as we start November. So that's a good thing. So for now, let's just focus on what we're going to do for Halloween. As for me, tomorrow evening, I'm going to People's Bank Theater because they're doing a special screening of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh.
Yeah, I know that's technically not a Halloween movie, but it's kind of creepy in its own way. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right, thank you, Landon. That is today's spectacular broadcast. From all of us here at WCMO TV, thank you for watching, and tune in Thursday at noon 30 for another great edition of Booze Center 15. Have a great Halloween.